You've always had a penchant for taking on unusual characters. What was it about Miss Peregrine and this story that you wanted to take it on and bring it to life?
Well, it's because it had so many elements that I love, you know. Usually it's like one element, but this one had lots of it, you know, the idea of sort of being labeled as peculiar, you know. But basically, the thing I liked about this is that all these kids have their peculiarities, but if you didn't know it, they're like real kids, you know, and that's what I loved about it. That's how I remember feeling. And then also in the character of Jake, I just had those feelings as a teenager, that feeling like you don't fit into society, you know, you're seeing monsters, are they there, are they real, are they not real, you know, am I crazy, you know, so that character I really identified with, and in his relationship with his grandfather, and then the themes of what's real and what's not real, and then of course working with Eva, oh, it's always a pleasure, and you know, she is Miss Peregrine. You know?
Yes.
It was all like really something that all the elements together was like, you know, usually, like I said, usually it's one thing. This was like about 10 things.
Yeah, and there's so many great characters. There's so many rich characters that you can play in and bring to life. I mean, this is like a unusual X-Men type of thing kind of going on here.
Yeah, but the thing I loved about those is that with all their peculiarities, they're basically just real kids, and that to me was a sort of a theme that I liked.
It represents a reality too. There's so many different kinds of people. There's so many kids with autism, kids with, you know, there's so many special gifts.
Absolutely, and I think that everybody, you know, it used to be deemed like peculiar as a bad thing, but I always thought it was a good thing, you know, because usually peculiar people or children are, you know, they're usually quite soft-spoken, quite lonely, quite emotional, quite sensitive, quite artistic, you know, but basically just real people, and that's those. So when I hear the word peculiar, I think of it as a positive.
Me too. I absolutely do. I love that you brought in so many elements. There's practical, there is CG, there's stop motion. What was it? Was that always the idea to kind of go in that direction?
Well, it was all mixed, and I think a lot of it was because there was a lot of kids that you know hadn't maybe done movies before, so it was more important because it's a more intimate kind of a thing to have as many real elements on the set. That's why we found a real house, you know. We did as much real. You know, stunts, and look, all the kids wanted to do their own stunts. You know, that was the most exciting thing to them. You know, can I fly, get wired, or this and that. So, but it helped, and I think it was just part of the nature of the story. And we had a little stop motion sequence. Probably would have done more, but it's very time consuming. So, it's just you mix up all the elements, and this project felt like that was a, you know, important element of it.
Yeah, and it looked, I also think it made the film a much more richer experience.
Yeah, you know, it's like when you're dealing with green screen and stuff, like I said, especially with the kids, but it also helps the adult actors, it helps the crew when you can actually shoot a real house, you know, you can shoot real locations and stuff. And all that was, you know, it felt like it was, like you say, part of the story.